Transformation TV. I am your host, Anthony Thompson. It's great to have you here. We are going to be learning competent mastery. We're getting here to the end of the ABCs. I'm going to review later what all the other A's and the B's were if that was new and you were just jumping in and checking it out. But as always, I love to start to wind the way into a story. Um, I'm in a different spot today. Yesterday was all sort of messy around me, but today we are just comfortable and cozy. And I'm going to tell you about a little place that I love in the Bahamas. Now, as soon as I say the word Bahamas, I don't know if you've ever been there, but if you have, I could just already start to see the crystal clear water, the little sort of drums on the beach, the ocean waves. I mean, the Bahamas is just puts me in a spot. And that's where the story starts today, where once upon a time, let me pull this up. You see my face enough. I'm gonna give you this competent mastery, and it's gonna require vision is where we're at today. It's gonna require some vision. And the story sets off in the Bahamas at a place called Pig Island, okay? Pig Island, it's near Nassau, which is the capital of the Bahamas. There's a beautiful pig there, right? Looks like he's having the time of his life. But early in the 80s, back then, there was this island that was off in the distance, and you could see it from the mainland, and it wasn't a very great place to go because it's where the mainland natives were sending their trash, their garbage. It was a garbage dump, right? So it was called Pig Island, and I mean the pigs loved it because there was just pigs everywhere that was eating the garbage. And so that's how this little island off of the main island there in Nassau became named and formed, and it was all of those things. And many people growing up in that time, they would be able to reference, Pig Island. Yeah, it's Pig Island. It's no big deal. You don't want to go there. You don't want to hang out there. Now, today it's a different story because there's literally an island in the Bahamas. It's called Pig Island, and it's a tourist attraction. People don't live on it, but pigs do. And you can go look it up, and people now go to this. It's a different island, but people go to still see this kind of thing in the Bahamas. It's a thing. They swim in it, whatever. But the story for the moment is this Pig Island, and it's about vision, and it's about where we're getting to in competent mastery here, for your own life. And there was a man back in the day, Merv Griffin. He was a, very famous television producer. And there was a time when he was in the Bahamas, and he had an idea. He had a vision for this island, and it was sold by the government to Merv, and they sold it to him for what they thought was a great deal. They didn't think anything of it. They just thought, here's a guy that wanted to buy an island. Who knows what's going to happen or go on there? But that's what they did. That's what they sold him. Well, Merv had different plans, different ideas. He had a vision for this island, and in fact, he took his vision into creating a hotel on this island. He saw this landscape, he saw where it was, he saw the opportunity, and he created a hotel, and it became a tourist attraction. Not only was it a tourist attraction, but over time, what Merv did so genius was that he changed the name. And you got to understand that the power of a name in a thing, in a location, in a destination, what that does. And he named the island Paradise Island. People might know it up today as Paradise Island. And that simple name change, that's something to even consider for your own life, for the vision that you have in your life. In biblical times, there was name changes, Abram to Abraham, right? There was, Saul to Paul. There was this transformation that would happen for people where they would start to see things and be different because of a name change. And this is what Merv did with this island, was by simply, instead of it being known as a Pig Island, it was now paradise. I mean, who doesn't want to go to paradise, right? But in your own life, think about how you view work, how you view your home. There's a friend of mine that, a mentor of mine, and he's done this very similar thing with his own home. where he calls it the lodge. I love that. What is a lodge? You know, what does it evoke? It's a place of, comfort and a place of relaxation. I'm going to the lodge. You imagine you're putting your feet up and you're kicking back and you're relaxing. That's the lodge. What about for you? What are ideas that you're getting even now for the life around you, for the things that you want to create? What are some names that are maybe dropping into you right now? It's curious to have those and to write those down because they're important. Well, now Merv, he has this island. He's having it. He's doing it for a little while. Well, you know what? He decides to sell it to somebody else who has a vision, a bigger vision than even he had. This Paradise Island, many of you may know of it or seen it. Maybe you've even been there. There was a long time ago where I was able to go to the Atlantis. And this is a picture of the Atlantis Hotel. It was renamed that Paradise Island, and it was sold from Merv to Saul Kurtzner for quite a bit of money that he made on it. And this now, Atlantis is now the largest tourist destination in the Bahamas, in the Caribbean. It's huge. Now they're doing basketball tournaments there, and UFC stuff is going on there. And one of the things with Confident Mastery is to start to see that it doesn't just stop. Vision shouldn't stop. And when vision stops, well, we know what that does with the lack of vision. People perish. It's gone with a lack of vision. People, lack discipline. And all of a sudden it's like the infrastructure begins to crumble. Well, there was a new vision. Merv's vision wasn't big enough. Saul's brought a bigger vision with the Atlantis, and the Atlantis continues to grow as they've, added new, towers of hotels and, over the years. And, every 5 to 7 years or so, they're putting up a new tower, or they're putting in a new attraction there with whether it's animals or water slides. But the vision continues its expansion. And that's something for your own life. Think about maybe the vision you had. I remember myself having a pretty powerful vision coming out of college and having a young family and nailing that vision pretty good. It was great. But over the years, life happens. Things get in the way. The vision begins to crumble. The infrastructure begins to sort of not be there. And that's where you have to get back into this vision. You have to create that state. You have to be intentional about these sorts of things in your life, right? It has to continue to grow and continue to expand. Well, that brings me to another story of another guy that I love, and I love his stories. I love what he does. I love, how he thinks, because it's a guy by the name of Jay Shetty. Now, I love Jay mostly for what I know him now, but back then, some of the quick points for Jay was, he was bullied as a kid, right? He lost 2 close friends, he says, in his teenage years, and it really changed what he was thinking about the world. And you see that photo there on the left of Jay as a monk. He wanted to change the world, and he wanted to do it a little bit different than what his friends were doing. His friends were all going to kind of business school, and they were business majors, and they took that time, and they invested in there into, after school, going into, a certain organization, whereas Jay went to become a monk. I mean, what a difference of ideals and values. And Jay's story today is really so much of what he learned just by being a monk, just by meditating, just by eliminating distractions, just in all of the different frameworks and things they did to be able to calm their mind, to be able to think in a way that was different than what everybody was thinking, to have different values and systems and all of those things. And now he uses that knowledge for his business. Those 4 years where he became a monk, and he was concerned, and his family was concerned to think that, Jay, when you finish this or whatever you plan on doing, how are you going to make money? Well, he ended up as a monk. One of his mentors as a monk literally went to him and said, Jay, you need to not be a monk. You have much more to offer this world. You have so much more to give. And for somebody like Jay to listen to someone like that really says a lot. It says a lot about the vision that even somebody else may be able to help your vision with. Maybe, it's gotten to this point and you feel like you've got it and you're doing all the stuff that you need to do. Well, there's another phase that happens when you get to the mastery phase. There's more for you to do. As we looked back at a wheel of life and all the different areas of your home and your personal finance and your career and your relationships and your marriage and your fun time and your personal development and all of those things wrapped in, it's always about making yourself a little bit better, improving, and that's what vision is. Jay's done it. He continues to do it. As he says, he loves to make wisdom go viral, right? So 2 quotes here to kick us off. Only one who devotes himself to a cause with his whole strength and soul can be a true master. For this reason, mastery demands all of a person. Albert Einstein. And I love what Jay says here is if you can build a muscle, you can build a mindset. And in both of these cases, in both of these quotes, it really says a lot about what's inside of you, because it's going to demand all of you in order for you to be fully present, fully alive, your full self. It's going to take everything. It's going to take physical work. It's going to take mental work. It's going to take spiritual work. It's going to take soul work and relational work. And it's going to take everything, but it's also going to allow you to be that person that you want to be. Whether it's frustrating things or, fearful things, or you're missing out, you feel like you're missing out, whatever those, feelings and things are, it's really about moving into this place of significance, of this place of impact, of this place where your life and your world, you are impacting it in a way that you really believe is for you, right? When I was in my moments there, when I was stuck and frustrated and whatever, I was envious of people that I thought were doing those things in the world that I wanted to do. And I was scared to do them. I was stuck because I was scared, afraid that what people would say, maybe what my job would say, employers would say, any of those things. And ultimately, I had to get unstuck. I had to see a vision beyond what was just in my eyes. I had to see the vision of my heart. And I always, in this thing with Jay, what he says here, if you can build a muscle, you build a mindset. Well, I needed to build a mindset. I needed to do those things that I knew how to go to the gym. I knew how to work out, knew what that looked like. But now I do that in my mindset. Now I'm doing that in my relationships. But what do you mean by that? Well, I schedule those things just like I schedule my workouts. I plan now I need, relational stuff with friends. I need to have mindset reading time scheduled in the calendar. I need to have those things planned so that I can continue to master this asset that God has given to me. Now, I haven't said it in a while, but the asset you have is a $71 million asset. If you were to take all of your body parts and organs and intelligence and everything and sold it on the open and black market, science shows and proves, the data is there, that you're a $71 million asset. So I am here before you as on assignment. This is why I'm created on earth, is to sit with you, to chat with you, to hang with you, to remind you and to confirm these things with you. I'm confirming that you are a person of impact. I'm confirming that you're a high performance individual. I'm confirming that there's more that you want to do in your life. I'm confirming that you're maybe stuck. I'm confirming that you need to get things going again and moving again. I'm confirming that you probably need to spend some money on yourself to do that. I'm confirming. That's what my role is on earth. That's my assignment. That's what I discovered when I was in those moments of being stuck and fearful and all those things, to find my purpose, to find that passion, so that I can literally sit with you and hang out and just say, hey, let's get you on track. Let's get you going. Because the greatest joy for me is watching others like yourself all of a sudden start to click, all of a sudden start to do some work and see, wow, their life is created more. They've got ideas, you've got plans, you've got a purpose, you've got people need, and we'll get to stick to the very end, because at the very end, there's 6 kingdom reminders that will blow your mind. When I read through these, every time I do, I'm reminded of the significance and the importance of my life. So stick with it to the end, all right? As review in the competent mastery where we're at, we started with awareness, and then we audited our life. That's the investigation of our life. We got accountable with ourselves first, because if you can't take ownership of your life, then you are just not living your life, right? Big goals is what we got into, so that we could start to set those things. We knew where we were going. We now knew where we're going, building habits around those goals, getting consistent with them, challenging your comfort zone. And now we're in the mastery. This is the reflection. Now you've started to get some momentum. Maybe you have the momentum. Now it's reflecting. All right, am I plateauing? Do I need to continue to go higher? Where am I at? So the reflection, this is, I'm going to give you a framework for reflection, because a lot of times people just think reflection is just, you sit Indian style and you look across a pond and, you reflect. And there's a way to reflect on that, and that helps. But if you're just starting out and you're new and reflecting, I tell you what really helps is having a framework, having a system of how am I reflecting, why, what, where, when, how, all those sorts of questions. So if you were to think of an experience or situation that you found challenging, difficult, or had a bad outcome, briefly describe the following aspect in sequence. So when you're reflecting, this is the essence of what reflection is for. And I would say this, if it's a challenge, I would also say if this was if there was a win, I think you can reflect with challenges and you can reflect with wins. They're both important, but challenges are even more important. There's way more things we can learn from when we challenge, when we fail, and when we lose that momentum. So the first thing is to sit down and talk through that. What was the last challenge you had? Where did you mess up? What went wrong? Why did it go wrong? What were you thinking? What were you doing? My wife and I just recently, with one of our youngest, who continues to come in and out of our bedroom, we had a moment where she doesn't just come in and out of her bedroom, but she likes to talk in the middle of the night at 2 a.m, likes to have a conversation, likes to ask us questions, and she shares a room with her sister. And so she wakes her sister up when her sister has school the next day, and it becomes just a mess in the middle of the night. And you can imagine, 2 sleepy parents trying to have one child be quiet, listen to them, trying to keep the other one asleep. And it can just be bananas. Well, there was a night when it happened and it was bananas, and it was just like, oh my gosh, my wife and I go back to sleep. We're like, my heart's pumping. I'm angry, frustrated. What the heck is going on? I can't believe, this 4-year-old is creating this type of catastrophe in our home at 3 a.m. Well, I went to sleep and I reflected on it the next day. The next morning, I just started thinking, okay, well, what have we done in the past that worked? What was something that was working in the past? Why is it now she's sort of reverted back? And we started to create a game plan. Very simple. We brought out a reward chart. We showed her the rewards. We gave her more positive things about her, about what she was doing. And we're now, midway through this chart. It was I'm actually giving my 4-year-old the same coaching as I'm giving you. And there's an exercise that we do, and it's called eating the elephant. And I am now working with my 4-year-old on eating an elephant. And feel free to use that with your child or whatever's going on. But the idea is there's a big goal that now my 4-year-old has, that when she is sleeping quietly for 10 times, doesn't have to be in a row, that there's a reward for her. There's a big reward. There's a big goal that we're going for with her. And the big goal is that she stays asleep and doesn't come in and have a conversation. And then she talks to Google, and, I have to look over my shoulder because Google's listening and we'll start talking, and it annoys me, but she'll do that in the middle of the night and tell it to be quiet and tell it to turn the volume up and all this stuff. Well, reflection gave my wife and I a huge advantage, and it's working for us. So I would recommend that for you as well. Here's the framework. Remember, what was the experience or situation? This is what I do every time I reflect. Experience, what happened and why was it important? Focused, who was involved, when, and where did it occur? What triggered or preceded the event? How was everybody going and feeling and focusing on? What did you learn? What did you think or feel? Why do you think it happened the way it did? Evaluate. So in this situation with my child, what did I learn? What did you think or feel? Well, at first I was angry. First, I was frustrated in that moment. I could not believe that this was happening, especially when my other daughter had a huge test the next day. We'd studied. I wanted to get to school and be ready, be prepared. And I just was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is going on. I was so frustrated. But then it was like, why do you think it happened the way it did? Well, because I think I had added pressure on it. And I also think for our 4-year-old, I did not have a game plan. My wife and I did not have a game plan for her. We did not have a strategy. We were not thinking collectively as far as how could we turn this into a positive for her? How could we help her, get through these tough times when she's sleeping and she doesn't like to be there? Even though her sister's in the same room, she feels she's alone. And we're working through that. Evaluate what contributed or caused the outcome. Well, many times, if something is continuing, it's a habit and it's a pattern, and you've got to break the habit, and you got to break the pattern, you got to break the reward for the pattern. And that was a thing that we talk about in the habits section, but that pattern needed to get broken. What could you have done differently? Can you develop any skills or acquire knowledge that will help you in the future? There's times with our kids that we're buying all sorts of books, right? There's times with my business, I'm taking new courses for things, and I'm buying books, and I'm sitting in mastermind groups because I need to acquire more knowledge so that I can make better decisions, faster decisions, more higher level type of thinking. And then trial. Based on your previous answers, formulate an action plan to follow if something similar happens in the future, right? So what's the plan? What's the experiment you're going to start doing to change this thing, to make sure that it doesn't happen again, right? This is mastery. It's no longer living, under the siege of what happened. It's now you're learning from it, growing from it, mastering it. I love that. So after we get through the mastery, let me go back quickly in this framework. After you're mastering these things, you're going through them, you're handling them, it's every day a little bit better. Every day a little bit better. Creating those habits every day a little bit better. And that's where the mastery comes into play, and reflection comes into that, because now you're reviewing the day. Another thing I talk about with clients and for myself is that, journaling, obviously that is a huge reflection on a daily journal that I do. I recommend all my clients have it and do it. Why? Because I can reflect usually at week's end. I'll reflect. I'll look at what was happening during the week, what was going on, mind, body, spirit, soul. What was I doing? What was I thinking about? How are those areas improving? Review those. What can I do better? What are things that I want to have happen, I don't want to happen, right? You're reviewing, you're reflecting. I'm mastering these in the daily moments. I'm mastering these things in my mind. I'm mastering these things in habits. And it's the same thing for you, right? It's the same thing for you in mastery. And as we go from mastery, the next slide I have here is going through your strengths, right? How to boost your strengths. And this is an area in mastery that there comes a point when, yes, you are strong at your strengths, but there's still more that you can do. So there's still ways you can grow. It's like going to the gym and saying, I remember when I first was able to do I don't know, it was like maybe 270, maybe 305 on the bench. I was weighing a lot more. 305, boom, did it. Well, once I did it, I didn't just stop doing 305. I was trying to do 315. Right? Put a couple more on the side, try to go through 315. Same thing with squats. I was, I don't know what I was squatting like back in the day, but You get the idea. There's a number and there's a strength, and you're great at it, but you still have to add more weight to it. Why? Well, you can get better, you can get faster, you can get stronger. Your mind can improve, can think quicker, can eliminate, these distractions. And I tell you, distractions, if anything, is something that will just boost your strengths. Because now you're so focused, you're so understanding of where you need to be. So which of your strengths create the best opportunities for you to grow or succeed? Which of your strengths can you use more frequently or effective to maximize its value? Do you have any strengths that you've neglected but will really enjoy applying? And 4, which strengths could make the most difference in your life? Run through these strengths, go through them line by line, and think about, you got to challenge yourself. Part of mastery is continually challenging, and that's what myself, a coach, a guide, is there for you. I'm going to challenge you to say, look, yeah, that was great that you were awesome at that, but there's got to be more. You haven't peaked here. There's another level for you to go. And you've got to ask yourself in these areas, because you're the only one that knows the truth about you. You're the only one that knows really how hard you're working. And that's awareness. That's where then the cycle comes back in. After mastery, we go back into awareness. And I start to say, all right, yes, you're on a roll. Yes, things are going great. But what are you holding back on? What do you know that you could do a little bit better in? That you could be a little bit more mindful, you could be a little less distracted, you could be a little bit more focused, you could be a little bit more intentional. What does that look like for you? Why? Because what do you want to become? Who do you want to become? What does that look like? What state do you need to be in to do that, right? Those are the things, those are the questions that we'd be asking. Now, as we start to conclude this thing, it's a little bit longer, I know, but as we conclude this thing, you have to have action steps to this strengths. Again, going back to SMART goals, what are the action steps to boost your strength? When will you begin taking these action steps? That's how you measure progress. And without a goal and a plan, it's just a dream. If you don't have those things nailed down, marked down, planned down, you're just living in fairyland. You're just, your mind's just wandering off into a dream world, which is phenomenal. But this is where I'm going to challenge you. Get it down on paper. Get accountable to yourself. Challenge yourself. You're the only one that can make this happen. You're the only one. Nobody can do this for you. Okay? Nobody. And you got to know that. You got to know that you are 100% the director and the hero of your story. Let that sink in. I can't do it. Your spouse can't do it. Your friends can't do it. It's you doing the work. And I tell you, when you're doing it and you're getting through it, it's rewarding. It's encouraging. You're going to get hits of endorphin. You're going to feel like a little bit of high about what's going on in your life. Why? I'm telling you, because that's what I did. That's how I feel. Even doing these, just sitting down with you for a second, hanging out here, I'm alive. I know this is my assignment. I know I'm here for you. And I love that. But I told you in the very beginning that there was something you need to stick around for. And this is what you need to stick around for. 6 kingdom reminders. Okay? I would recommend screenshot this, share this, send this. I have this printed and laminated around the house. My kids have this because they need to know that this is the reason why they're here on earth, okay? I was born to solve a problem. I am God's response to a need he created. I am the answer to a question God knew would be asked. I'm the fulfillment of one of God's desires. I'm an assignment my generation needs to experience. I am necessary. You think about those things in your life. You think about where you're at, where you want to go. And yeah, there's a gap, but I'm telling you right here, These 6 kingdom reminders will keep you on track, will keep you focused, will keep you reminding yourself of, the 2 things, the 2 most important moments in a person's life. 1, when they were born. 2, when they figured out why. And as that starts to kick on in your life, that's what I'm here to do, is as it's kicking on, as it's going, that, man, it's going, that your assignment is real, that your life is of significant value, that you take this time, you're like, oh, I wish this would go fast. I'm slowing this thing down because I know what high performers want to do. They want to get through it. They want to get the test. They want to take it. They want to get there, check the box. We did it. We're in. We're winning. No. Put my hand up. I'm with you. That's what most high performers like yourself, leaders, want to do. It's not that. You got to get deep into that soul. I'm here to remind you to get deep into your soul. That's the assignment I have. So when you look at these things and these frameworks and you start reflecting on your life, some of those things that you put away, oh, I don't need to do those. No. Humble yourself. You need to do those. There's a reason why a journal is a journal. There's a reason why there's mastery in reflection. There's a reason why that you want to race through this, and think about, why do you want to race through this? Think about what you're missing in racing through this. Because I'm the first to tell you, first to get with you, that yes, you are a champion. Yes, you have an assignment. Yes, there is a solution that you have to the world, that they have a problem and you are the solution. It's there and it's in you, and we're going to unlock, we're going to uncover, get that thing going, get that thing flourishing, and start to replicate those things in your life. So I want to say thank you again for coming on, being here, doing the work, getting all the stuff that you need to get, taking the time to do it because you owe it to yourself. And just remember, it's not for you. You becoming the person you're becoming is not just for you, because as we just learned here, is that you have an assignment that somebody else, you have the answer for somebody else. It's in there. Know that, believe that. I'm rooting for you. I can't wait to see you. We're gonna get some cool stuff going tomorrow. So come back, rewatch this, do whatever you need to do. We'll chat soon. I love you. I'm out.